When a game grabs your attention and keeps you playing for hours, that's when you know it's something special. These are the games that pull you in fast, keep you hooked, and make every minute count. Here are the 20 games that are absolutely worth your time. Days Gone is one of those games that's absolutely worth your time if you enjoy open-world action with real stakes and solid pacing. You play as Deacon St. John, a biker trying to survive in a world crawling with freakers, infected humans that move in massive, fast-moving hordes. The gameplay feels great because it mixes a lot of systems that work well together. You can go in quiet with stealth kills, set traps before a fight, or use every bullet you've got to survive a swarm. The bike isn't just for travel either, it's your lifeline. Keeping it fueled and repaired adds a nice layer of tension when you're deep in the wilderness with no gas to spare. What keeps the game interesting is how it mixes story with survival. You're not just fighting monsters, you're dealing with people, loyalty, and loss. If you like open-world games with survival elements, Days Gone is an easy one to stick with for hours.
We need you here, and that scares the hell out of you. We have to look out for each other. It's all we got.
You could have saved a few lives.
There was no hope, there was no time, there was no room, okay? We'd already turned on each other by the time the hordes arrived.
Hope you're right about your old lady, Deke. Gotta ask you something. What does it matter if everyone else is dead?
Where Winds Meet is an open-world action RPG set in ancient China. You play as a young swordsman trying to survive during a time of chaos and war. You travel through big regions, fight enemies using martial arts, and slowly uncover your character's story. Even though the game is free to play, it doesn't feel shallow. The story content is big enough for more than 100 hours of play if you like exploring and leveling up your character. The combat is one of the fun parts. You get to use different weapons and martial arts skills that feel smooth and responsive, so fights never get boring. It's fast enough to keep you engaged, but also tactical. Timing your attacks, dodges, and combos makes each encounter satisfying. If you're into open-world games with solid combat, tons of freedom, and lots to explore, Where Winds Meet is definitely worth checking out. Cronos the New Dawn is one of those games that's absolutely worth your time. From the start, it throws you into a world where every fight matters and every decision can change how things go. You jump between eras trying to fix a broken future, and that setup keeps you curious about what's coming next. The gameplay is challenging but fair. Enemies are tough, but when you learn their patterns and use your tools right, you start feeling like you're improving. You explore big areas, try out different strategies, and unlock new abilities that make each run feel a little different. It keeps you thinking instead of just repeating the same actions. What makes it stand out is how it teaches you to get better. You don't feel overpowered early on, but the more you play, the more your skills and tools grow. That progression feels satisfying.
Are you glad to see me?
Prey easily earns a spot among games that are absolutely worth your time. It throws you into Talos 1, a massive space station filled with secrets, weird tech, and alien life that wants you gone. You wake up as Morgan, not sure who to trust or even what's real, and that mystery keeps pulling you forward. What makes this game stand out is how much freedom it gives you. You can sneak around, hack systems, set traps, or just go in guns blazing. It's completely up to you. The design pushes creativity instead of strict rules, and finding your own way through a problem feels genuinely rewarding. The world itself keeps you tense without being overwhelming. Every sound could mean an alien nearby, and since those things can disguise themselves as random objects, even a coffee mug can make you nervous. If you like games that mix smart gameplay and a bit of psychological mystery, Prey is one you shouldn't skip.
Oh my god! Security! Security!
I know what's coming.
Some people will never understand what you can do.
Five, four, three, two, one.
We can fight the invasion. If I can't save us, I'm taking every last one of them with me.
Gears 5 is absolutely worth your time if you're into big, explosive action with a solid story to back it up. From the moment it starts, you're thrown into intense battles, huge set pieces, and non-stop combat that never feels boring or repetitive. It's the kind of game where you jump in and just feel the energy of every firefight. What makes this one stand out is how polished it feels. The shooting is tight, the enemies are aggressive, and every encounter pushes you to think fast. Cover, movement, team support, all of it matters. And even when things get chaotic, the controls stay smooth and responsive. The story also hits harder than you might expect. You follow Kate and the squad as they uncover secrets, fight their own doubts, and deal with big emotional moments while trying to save what's left of humanity. Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water fits perfectly on a list of games that are absolutely worth your time. It starts on Mount Hikami, a foggy, haunted mountain tied to mysterious drownings and rituals, and it wastes no time making you feel like you shouldn't be there. You play as 3 different characters, each drawn to the mountain for their own reasons, slowly uncovering a story that's part mystery, part ghost tragedy. What makes it stand out is how it turns fear into a mechanic. Your only defense is the camera obscura, a camera that captures spirits instead of bullets. Every time you lift it, you're forced to look directly at what's trying to kill you. It's simple, risky, and incredibly effective at keeping you on edge. If you want a horror game that doesn't rely on loud scares and instead pulls you in with mood and mystery, Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water is absolutely worth your time.
You shall become a pillar as well.
Ghostrunner 2 is absolutely worth your time if you love fast, sharp action that keeps you locked in. Right from the start, it throws you into high-speed parkour combat where every move matters. You're not just running and shooting, you're slicing enemies, dashing through walls, and chaining cool moves together in a way that feels good every single time. What makes this one stand out is how tight the gameplay is. The controls are responsive, the levels are built so you constantly feel like you're on the edge, and there's rarely a dull moment. One hit can take you down, so you're always thinking a step ahead, not just about surviving, but doing it with style. The visuals and world design play into that vibe too. Neon lights, towering cyberpunk architecture, and slick character art make the whole thing look as intense as it plays. If you want a game that keeps your reflexes tested from start to finish, Ghostrunner 2 is absolutely worth your time.
It's built to run. Fail to stop the calamity.
There are always two sides to a story.
You fucking scumbags!
You pissed off the wrong people.
Hell Is Us is absolutely worth your time if you're into action-adventure games that mix strong combat with a compelling story. Right from the start, you're thrown into a world where danger and chaos feel constant, and the way the game handles movement and fighting makes every encounter exciting. What makes it worth playing is how smooth and satisfying the core gameplay feels. You dash, dodge, and strike with real impact. The enemies aren't just bullet sponges, they have patterns, they react intelligently, and learning how to deal with them makes each battle feel earned. It's the kind of game where once you get into the flow, you really feel like a powerful fighter even when the odds are stacked against you. And yeah, Hell Is Us is absolutely worth the time you put into it. The Altars throws you into a really cool twist on action games. You're running missions, dealing with threats, and trying to stay alive. But the twist is the suit you wear is filled with different personalities, and each one changes how you play. It's not just a shooter, it's a game that makes you think about how you approach every fight. What makes it stand out is how those personalities affect everything. One might make you more aggressive, another might buff your support abilities, and switching between them mid-combat feels smooth and fun. It keeps encounters fresh because you're constantly adapting, not just repeating the same strategy. The combat itself hits hard. Movement is fast, gunplay feels tight, and the enemies push you to stay on your toes. You're sliding around corners, picking your moment to strike, and using the environment instead of just button mashing.
Just look at us.
How can you be pretty?
Stray easily earns a spot among games that are absolutely worth your time. You play as a lost cat in a neon, robot-filled city, and right away that simple setup makes you want to explore every corner. The world feels alive in its own weird way. Rooftops to jump on, vents to crawl through, and plenty of little secrets tucked away if you take your time. What makes this game stand out isn't just the cute idea of being a cat, it's how well it turns that into fun gameplay. You don't just walk and fight enemies like in every other game. You climb, you hide, you meow at robots, and you figure out how to survive with agility instead of power. Even the way your cat moves feels good and natural, which makes exploring feel satisfying. The story sneaks up on you too. At first, it's just about finding a way home, but as you meet strange robots and piece together what happened to the city, it becomes deeper and more emotional than you'd expect. Detroit Become Human grabs your attention from the first few minutes and doesn't let go. The story jumps between 3 androids, each dealing with their own version of what it means to be alive. You're making decisions almost constantly: who to trust, when to fight back, when to stay quiet, and every choice changes where the story goes next. It's worth playing because the game doesn't fake consequences. When you pick an option, it sticks. Sometimes it leads to a great moment. Sometimes it blows up in your face, but it always feels earned. That's what makes replaying it so good. You'll want to see how differently things could have turned out. If you like games that mix storytelling, choices, and emotional weight without getting too complicated, Detroit Become Human is one that'll keep you hooked the whole way through.
Can be your own masters. I've come to tell you that you don't have to obey them anymore.
Get away!
Fight Jericho!
I know someone who can help you.
Pull the trigger. How do I know you are not a deviant?
They are not machines!
I could take you there.
Go! See this!
What was that?
Critical work. People always decry the truth when forced to face it. Still your fear. I will be her salvation.
Ghostwire Tokyo is one of those games that instantly grabs you and keeps you hooked. You step into a version of Tokyo where almost everyone has mysteriously vanished, leaving behind spirits, yokai, and creepy forces that don't belong. What makes this game worth your time is how it turns the city itself into part of the experience. Instead of traditional weapons, you use hand gestures and elemental powers to fight off spirits, which feels smooth and satisfying once you get the hang of it. Combat flows well, quick, flashy, and a little strange in the best way. The atmosphere keeps you curious too. Shrines, alleyways, skyscrapers, and forgotten buildings all have little secrets tucked in them. The way Tokyo blends modern life with folklore makes every new area feel different and interesting. Ghostwire Tokyo is definitely worth checking out. Yakuza Like a Dragon is one of those games that's absolutely worth your time because it takes everything great about the series and shakes it up in a way that feels fresh and fun. Instead of the old action beat-em-up style, this one goes full RPG with turn-based combat, and it works surprisingly well. Battles feel strategic, loud, and satisfying. You're constantly mixing up jobs, skills, and team combos to stay ahead of the chaos. What really hooks you is the personality. The story has heart, big twists, and moments that actually matter, but the side activities steal the show just as often. Karaoke, arcade games, business management, running errands for strangers. It's all so weird and fun that you'll find yourself sidetracked more than once. If you're into games that mix strong story, deep combat, and pure replayable fun, Yakuza Like a Dragon is absolutely worth your time.
Anything's possible. And I mean anything. I summon you. What the? These are my friends. This is my quest. And we're about to rise to the top.
Half-Life ALYX is one of those games that's absolutely worth your time because it feels like stepping into a sci-fi horror adventure instead of just watching one. From the second you grab your first weapon in VR, the world starts pulling you in, whether you're solving physics puzzles or fighting off headcrabs in Combine. What makes this game so impressive is how natural everything feels in VR. You reload weapons by hand, grab ammo off shelves, duck behind cover, and solve puzzles by actually touching and moving objects. It's not about fancy controls. It's about small, realistic actions that make the game feel alive. The pacing is great too. The quiet moments between fights give you time to explore and take in the environment before the next big scare or firefight hits. Half-Life ALYX is one of those titles that shows how good the technology can get.
Get out of here, now! Oh God.
They've got Dad.
They're gonna find out what he knows, and then they're gonna kill him.
All this is my fault. I never told you. I couldn't. I'm so sorry, baby.
You will not save him. ALYX Vance alone cannot prevent his fate.
Close your eyes, honey.
Tales of Arise is one of those games that's absolutely worth your time. It throws you into a conflict between two worlds, one that's been oppressed for generations, and another that's lived in power. Right away, you're pulled into the story, and the characters start to grow on you fast. What makes this game worth playing is how good the combat feels. It's fast, smooth, and fun. You'll dodge, dash, and chain moves together in ways that never get old. Special attacks look great and hit hard, and even long fights stay exciting instead of dragging on. The world you explore is big but not confusing. Towns, forests, deserts, each area has its own look and feel, and the side stories give you reasons to stick around and explore. If you want a game with strong action, a story that keeps you going, Tales of Arise is absolutely worth playing.
You won't be getting out of here alive.
Even the smallest of sparks can grow into an inferno. I must give precedence to the task at hand, snuffing out your fire before it spreads across the 5 realms.
Think you can cut me down? What?
Those with power set the example, and those without it are forced to obey.
Frozen?
Hammer!
That can't be.
Look out!
Right now, this thing needs dealing with.
The hell? Is that a Zoogle?
Everyone, be careful!
That thing is huge!
Tectonic fission!
You'll pay!
Danon Liberation and the Renaissance. Looks like we've got our work cut out for us.
It must be fate at work again.
Elden Ring Nightreign drops you back into Elden Ring with new areas to explore and tougher enemies to fight. The core gameplay is still all about open-world exploration, dodging attacks, timing strikes, and figuring out boss patterns through trial and error. You'll be running across wide landscapes, scouting for secrets, and jumping into fights that demand focus and precision. What makes Nightreign worth your time is how it builds on the base game without just repeating it. The new bosses are clever and challenging in ways that feel fair, not unfair. Combat in Elden Ring has always been about learning from failure, and Nightreign leans into that in a good way. You're punished for rushing in, and rewarded when you take a moment to read an enemy or plan your approach. That tension between danger and growth is what keeps you coming back. If you like games that challenge you and make every victory feel earned, Elden Ring Nightreign delivers exactly that. Subnautica is fun right from the start. You crash on an unknown planet and realize everything around you is water. No long cutscenes, no waiting, you dive in, start exploring, and immediately feel that mix of curiosity and panic. You need oxygen, food, and materials to survive, but every trip into the ocean feels like an adventure. The gameplay is simple but addictive. You dive to collect materials, craft new gear, and build bases to survive deeper and deeper dives. The ocean is massive, and every area feels different. Bright coral shallows, dark caves, and huge open spaces that make you nervous every time you look down. The best part is how progression never feels forced. Each new gadget or vehicle you unlock opens up more of the world, and you always feel like you're making real progress. Stardew Valley is one of those games that feels simple, but keeps you coming back. You start with an old farm and a few basic tools, and from there you just figure things out. Planting crops, raising animals, mining, or talking to the people in town. It's easy to understand, and that's what makes it fun. The gameplay moves at your pace. There's no timer or pressure, so you can spend a day watering plants, exploring caves, or just hanging out in town. Each season changes things up. New crops, festivals, and small surprises that keep the game from ever feeling stale. What makes it worth your time is how relaxing it is. The visuals are simple but charming, and even when you're busy managing your farm, it never feels stressful. You just keep improving a little bit every day. If you like games that are laid back but still give you goals to chase, Stardew Valley is a solid pick.
Even if we found her, or by some miracle found someone else that's immune, it made no difference, because the only person who could develop a vaccine is dead.
No! No!
I know all the leads have dried up, but Joel's still out there, you know?
We're gonna have to run!
Why don't you say whatever speech you got rehearsed? Get this over with.
You don't get to rush this.
The Last of Us Part 2 throws you right into its world with intensity and purpose. You follow Ellie's journey through dangerous environments, and from the first few hours, it's clear this isn't a typical action game. Every step feels loaded with meaning and consequence. The gameplay is tight and stressful in a good way. You don't have endless ammo or overpowered weapons. You have to sneak, hide, and pick your moments carefully. Enemies are smart, and every fight pushes you to think before you act. What makes it worth your time is how all that gameplay supports the story. The characters don't feel like NPCs. They feel like real people with real problems. If you want a game that blends emotional storytelling with gameplay that actually tests you, The Last of Us Part 2 delivers a complete experience that's hard to forget. Dark Souls 3 is one of those games that's absolutely worth your time if you like a real challenge. The game throws you into brutal fights from the start. Every enemy can kill you if you're careless, and that's exactly what makes it so rewarding. You learn the game's rhythm, improve your timing, and start to notice how every mistake teaches you something. The gameplay is where it really shines. Combat feels tight and precise. You dodge, block, and strike with purpose. Each weapon has its own speed and weight, and figuring out what fits your style is half the fun. Exploring the world is just as satisfying. The levels connect in clever ways, full of shortcuts, secrets, and loot that make you want to keep pushing forward even after a tough loss. You're not told where to go, you find your path by surviving it. If you want a game that actually tests your skill and gives you a real sense of accomplishment, Dark Souls 3 delivers exactly that.
Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yon the giant.
Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin.